Welcome back, grade 6, to Nelson Math, chapter 8, section 1, unit relationships. A bit of vocabulary for you, the word dimensions. You've heard the word dimensions often in sci-fi, but there's also a mathematical connotation to it. And dimensions would be the measures of an object that can be used to describe its size. For a rectangle, the dimensions are the length and width, and we have a diagram of that down here. For this section, I'm going to ask that you make a sketch every time you are asked to compare something that's centimeters squared and meters squared. If you don't, you might find yourself with a variety of problems when you do the conversions. This will help your understanding go much more smoothly. So I have a square right here. I made a square and I have called it 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters. However, we know that another way of saying 100 centimeters is 1 meter. So not only can I call this a 100 centimeter by a 100 centimeter square, so I'm using the dimensions of length and width, I can also call it the dimensions of length and width of 1 meter by 1 meter. They're both equivalent. They mean the same thing, or they have equal value. So if I wanted to find the area of this, as you know from a previous grade, if you want to find the area of a square, it's length times width. So the length is 100, the width is 100. So 100 times 100 is 10,000. And because my units are centimeters, it's centimeters squared. So I could say that my 100 centimeter by 100 centimeter square has an area of 10,000 centimeters squared. However, I can also give it a different name, and the other name would be my 1 meter by 1 meter square. So for me to find the area of that square, which is the same square, it's 1 times 1, which is 1, and our units are meters, so we're calling it meters squared. So you must keep that in mind, and if you ever get stuck, please draw this square and label it. It'll make things go much more easily. So keeping in mind that 1 meter squared is 10,000 centimeters squared, we can now move on to trying a few questions. I've labeled it right here. 1 meter squared is 10,000 centimeters squared. So this, my next question, what is the area in centimeters squared of 0.5 meters squared? So you've learned in a previous chapter that 0.5 is less than 1. As a matter of fact, it's exactly half of 1. 0.5 is half of 1 meters, so 0.5 meters squared is exactly half of 1 meter squared. Therefore, whatever number of centimeters squared I have here, this would be half as much. So half as much of 10,000 would be 5,000. And because we're converting it to centimeters squared, it's 5,000 centimeters squared. Let's do the same thing now with comparing 1 meter squared to 7 meters squared. 7 is 7 times as big as 1. So I can take 1, multiply it by 7, and get 7. Or I could do 10,000 times 7 is 70,000. And I have 70,000 centimeters squared like that. So when you do today's homework, please remember to keep this equation in mind, that 1 meter squared is 10,000 centimeters squared. You're also going to have to not forget what you learned in grade 3 and grade 4, and that would be that 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. To keep this all straight, I'm strongly recommending you draw a picture of it. It will make much more sense. Thanks, grade 6. Have a good day.